Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is my regular Thursday blog. I want to talk about something that I think is really important, that really is offensive to any decent person. If you have any decency and you're not concerned only about partisan politics and taking a stand for your party or next party or my party, forget parties, talk about common sense here. Common sense says that we elected a president of the United States, whether we like him or not. He's the elected leader. Now, why would you have somebody like Nancy Pelosi undermining and manipulating foreign policy behind his back after he and Condoleezza Rice, who's the Secretary of State, delegated and elected to do this job? Why would we have somebody having a right to undermine it whenever they please? This should be banned by law. Just like by law you ban anybody from defrauding or manipulating or undermining America. He was elected to do the job. If you have any complaint about how he's doing the job, you talk about it in Congress, or you talk about it by trying to influence public opinion, or you do whatever you can that's legally, lawfully your right in your job. If you're third in line for the presidency, you should understand the presidency and respect the presidency. And you don't take over the presidency if you wasn't elected to the presidency. Imagine if somebody was the head of a corporation and some second banana in the corporation decided that every time he makes a deal somewhere, they're going to go someplace behind their back and see if they can undermine the deal or change the deal or manipulate it to satisfy their own terms or their own thoughts because they don't like something somewhere, somehow, whatever they did. What company can operate that way? Would they allow it in any corporation? That person would be considered some kind of a fraud, some kind of a spy, some kind of a sick human being in the first place. Somebody who's not happy with their own job and wants to convince themselves that they own the top of the job when nobody elected them to. It's a delicate manipulation. It's a very involved kind of studious attempt at foreign policy to create the right kind of combination of forces to overwhelm or affect a situation and to win over an enemy like Syria. To win them over is a strategy that the government is involved with right now. Just by threatening them and isolating them and trying 100 different ways to create the kind of foreign policy judgments that will somehow influence them to move in the right direction, away from the kind of terrorism that they are right now conducting all over the world. By supporting Hezbollah and sending in all kinds of ammunition of different kinds that are destroying our soldiers. By being a gateway from Iran for armaments all over the world and for terrorism all over the world. Syria is a threat to the rest of the world. And how to undermine them and how to affect them and change them is a very delicate operation. And you don't need a second banana who decides because they have nothing to do to put on a veil, because she's not important enough as a Speaker of the House. She also has to look for attention, as you can see, every time she stretches her face this way and that way, and wonders all about the different kinds of plastic surgeries she should have taken or didn't take yet. And how to try to look a different way with a different nose or a different eye, or you notice her cheeks are sometimes here, sometimes they move over here, then the forehead goes up, then it goes down, then she looks 28, then 37, then 59, then 32. She's so involved with her face and her look and her dress and her schmatters and manipulating her leg this way and that way. She's a 65-year-old woman who can't believe it. She's trying to look 28 or 37 at most, and then she has nothing to do because she doesn't think she had enough attention on enough cameras, so she runs to a foreign country and starts undermining all the plans and plots of our America, of our government, of the elected representatives of this government, and decides to form her own government and overcome our regular government and do whatever she pleases. All of a sudden she formed her own government. This is a very sick lady. And the people who don't like Bush are so happy that this nutcase of a broad is all of a sudden took over and decided to run her own foreign policy that she was never elected to, a job she doesn't have and doesn't own and doesn't belong in. And all of a sudden she took over because this government somehow allows it to happen. There should be a law against it, and a person like this should be put in jail. You belong in jail if you're taking a job that you don't belong in, nobody elected you to, and decided to undermine the efforts of the government to create peace through the kind of strength that we have and the kind of power we have to make deals we want, however we please to make them, and nobody invented a new person to have this job beyond what we elected them to. This is treasonous. That's what it really is. And this lady belongs in jail. Unfortunately, we don't have a law that puts her in jail, but that's where she belongs.